Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to continue having fun with the Blood Angels Combat Patrol, and we are going to do an unboxing and assembling of the second unit of the Sanguinary Guards. And I say second unit because I already made the first one, so in case that you're interested and you want to check the different assembling options, I'm going to leave in the description the links to the first unit. Anyway, enough of the introduction, let's start having fun with this box. As always, in the back of the box we have a scale 1-1 of these Sanguinary Guards, and for sure I can tell you that I want mine to look as different as possible from these ones. And here we have everything that we're going to be working with in this video. We have the instructions, we have 3 40mm bases, and then here we have the sprues with all the bits that will allow us to build these Sanguinary Guards. If you're familiar with the channel, you already know how this is going to work. So first we're going to check the instructions, after that we're going to check the bits, and then we're going to assemble these miniatures. Let's start checking these instructions, and as we can see here, the first thing that we do is assemble the jump packs. We have 2 of this specific one and then 1 of this. So basically we're going to have this one, and then this one is slightly different. It doesn't matter, we can exchange them and use them for whatever body that we want in this miniature, so that's always a nice thing. If we continue with the instructions, here we can see the first Sanguinary Guard, and as always, it's something that happens quite often with the Space Marines. We cannot change the pose or the bodies. This is going to be the first body. We're going to be able to change the arms and the head to try to make him a little bit more unique, or try to change the pose a little bit, but aside from this, not much choices for us. Here we have a perfect example of that. We have the exact same body, even in this case the exact same left arm. It's just that by changing the head and one of the arms we can try to make them feel a little bit different. Could be better, could be worse. For each 3 miniatures we can have an Inferno pistol, so basically in this kit there's only 1 of them. We can give it to any Space Marine that we want, but here they're suggesting to us to give it to this specific one. As you can see here, the connection is flat, so we can try to give this weapon to any other miniature and try to make it a little bit more different. For this first miniature we have a suggestion of 4 different heads. There's a lot of heads inside of this kit, that's always good. We have these 2, and aside from that we have also these 2, which is nice. And then we can give the weapons that we saw previously, or we can have this arm that we can change between spear and sword. It is very simple and very straightforward. We choose the arms that we want, we give the head that we want, and after that we just need to add the shoulder pads, we attach the jump pack, and then we have a Sanguinary Guard ready for battle. Let's continue with the second member of the unit, and it's exactly the same situation with the body. This is how we assemble the body. Again, simple, straightforward, but this is the only one that we can achieve with this specific miniature. From that point in the instructions, they are only suggesting us this left arm and this right arm. As I said previously, the connection is flat, so we can exchange the arms with all these miniatures, but basically this is it. These are the suggestions. This arm and this arm. There's not more choices if we follow the instructions. For this specific case, the pose is not changing much even if we give him different weapons, because you can see it here clearly. This is the arm. This is the pose of the arm. So we are just going to attach hands with the weapons that we want to use. But I have to say that with this simple detail, the pose can change a lot, because you can see here we have him throwing a spear, quite aggressive pose, and here he is holding a banner. It's the same arm, but it feels different. If we want to have all of them with swords, it's a little bit inconvenient, because the banner can only be attached to this specific spear, and we can have spear with banner, only spear, or sword. So yeah, if we want to have him with a sword, it's like difficult. It's going to be difficult to have this banner there. But to me, what hurts me the most is that for my first unit I wanted to have all of them with spears, and I was not able to have this super cool pose throwing the spear that I love, and then the banner. So for me it was like very sad, let's say. Once we go through that and we have the miniature with the weapons, we just need to add the shoulder pads, head, jump pack, and we are going to have another Sanguinary Guard ready for battle. And with the third miniature we're going to have even less choices, you will see it right now. First of all, exactly the same with the body. We only have 1 of them, we are just going to attach different arms and heads to that miniature. According to instructions and the suggestions that they are giving us, this is the only choice that we have for the left arm, so yes, this is it. For the right arm, we can choose between sword and spear, it's great. You can see here the difference is not huge, it's almost the same miniature, like very similar, it's just that we're changing a very small detail. As I mentioned previously, the connection with the torso is flat, so basically we can exchange these arms between miniatures, and I think that as long as the pose feels natural, it should be okay. And that's it. Once we choose the weapons, we are just going to attach the head and the shoulder pads, plus the jump pack, and we have another Sanguinary Guard ready for battle. And here we have the plastic with all the bits, 3 small sprues that will allow us to build 3 Sanguinary Guards. As you can see here, at the moment of making this video, these miniatures are very recent, which is always great. As expected from Games Workshop, the amount of detail in every single bit is excellent and everything looks very good. Here we have the torso of these Space Marines. I really like how it looks, these nice sculpts. Then we have the nice base for this miniature. They are going to be standing on this. We have the first weapons here. We have this super beautiful sword with this nice purity seal. The Inferno pistol, we can see it right here. And then we have what we mentioned previously, the hands with the sword that we can attach to different arms. Then here we have the not so magnificent wings of these Sanguinary Guards, but well, it's something. Obviously, we're going to have shoulder pads with a sculpted symbol of the Blood Angels, and here we have another nice spears. I like these spears a lot, and when we have these purity seals on them, they even look nicer. So yeah, that's nice. And aside from that, here we have the rest of the body, we have the alternative weapon, we have the magazine in a different bit, we can see it here. So yes, we're going to be attaching that. And we can take a look at the heads. Here we have 2 a little bit more basic. And then here we have 2 of them that are a little bit more unique. Here we have the second sprue that will allow us to build the second member of this unit, and actually the second one that we saw in the instructions, because as you can clearly see here, we have a very beautiful banner. Maybe it could be bigger, it's never big enough, but well, it looks good on the miniature. This is what we mentioned previously. Here we have this arm, and to this arm we're going to attach this hand, or this hand, so the pose is not going to change much. But well, as I said, could be better, could be worse. Here we have, of course, the sculpted shoulder pad with the Blood Angel symbol, and then we have the different bits of the body. Again, it looks very nice sculpts. I like the design of the armor, even if I don't like some things, like for example the absence of nice, beautiful, elegant wings. We have something like this. But well, the armor, I like the armor by itself. And finally, here we have the third member of the unit, the third one that we saw when we were checking the instructions. And basically this is the most simple one, I will say, because we have the body, and then we can choose between this arm, and this is the only one that we have for the ranged weapons. So yes, basically this is it. Well, we checked the instructions, we checked every single bit, now it's where the fun begins. Let's start assembling these miniatures. The first member of the unit is ready, I just need to lure him to the base, but that's something that I'm going to do later, because of course I would like to try something fun for the bases. So now let's continue with the second member of this unit. Here we have the second and third member of the squad, and now it's time to base them. I have the exact same issue that I have with the previous Sanguinary Guard that I assembled, and it's that I feel like they are too close to the ground, and I consider that standing higher will benefit these miniatures. To achieve that, I'm going to do something that I have been doing a lot lately. I'm just going to cut some bits of the sprue and glue them under the miniature. And this is it, this is how I assembled my Sanguinary Guard. And of course, as always, I invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about these miniatures. And now let's take a look at them one by one. Here we have the first one, the one that kinda reminds us of a sergeant. At the moment of making this video, there's no sergeant in the Sanguinary Guard. But well, he has a different helmet, he has a unique weapon, so I'm going to consider him the most unique. I have said this before, but I consider that these miniatures benefit a lot from standing higher. That's why I decided to give them like higher bases to stand, because if they are kinda looking like they are flying, I think that they look much better, and I don't know, they stand out much more and they look more interesting. And regarding the bases, with this one I was very brave. I tried to give him like some kind of like column thing, I don't know. I tried to be not to add too much, so there will be like space between the floor and him. But it was a little bit tricky, because I tried with one, but I mean it was like unstable. It was very like, it was moving to the front, moving to the back. I had like to repose him like a lot of times, so I had to add a lot of them to kind of reinforce him, and then I had to add a lot of things around to make them like stay where I want them to be. So yeah, it was kind of tricky. I'm happy with the final result, but after trying this one I was like, okay, for the other ones I'm not going to try this. About the assembling, I'm just going to mention that I followed the instructions and I gave him the swords. I gave all of them swords. I'm very happy about this one. I'm looking forward to paint this miniature because I want to see how this base is going to look. Here we have the second member of the unit, and again I just followed the instructions, giving him the option of the sword. I like the pose as well. I especially like this one because I like the pose. As I mentioned previously, here the base is much more stable, the miniature feels much safer, it's not like he's going to fall or anything, so yeah, I decided to go for this. At first I thought like, okay, I will try to avoid these mountains here and I will try to have something more subtle. But after the experience with the first miniature, I was like, okay, no, I will just go for these big bases. But still, I think that it's not bad, because what I mentioned previously, we have like a lot of space here. What I said, I do think that higher bases benefit these miniatures a lot, because the higher base adds more movement to the miniature and makes the pose to feel a little bit more dynamic. So yeah, these small details that I like. And here we have the third member of the unit, and this has the weirdest base because it's like a, I don't know, it feels weird to me. Hopefully I will manage to save this later when I add some technical paint to the base. But yes, the same things. For the assembling, I follow the instructions and use the sort pose, and after that I just decided to make the base higher. Here you can clearly see that the miniature was supposed to be like this, but I added like these extra layers, and again, the pose feels nicer to me, more dynamic, it feels like it has more movement, and again, these miniatures benefit a lot from these higher bases. And here you can see again the whole unit, the 3 miniatures, and honestly I'm looking forward to paint these miniatures, so for sure very soon you will find a video on the channel painting these miniatures. As always, I would like to remind you that if you like what I do and you would like to support my work, please consider to check the link to my Patreon in the description. And with all of that being said, this is it, this is the end of the video, this is how I assembled my Sanguinary Guard. It was super nice to share this experience with all of you, and if you are still here, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.